So, do you remember the time, a throwback to when we were in college, also working our lives off and straining our minds and body to hell just because we were interning in a corporate office in startups?
I mean, how could I possibly forget that? Those are like, honestly, the best and quite possibly the worst days of my life. But I still remember it being such a new experience simply because of, wow, so this is corporate. This is what the rest of my life is going to be like.
So, for context, guys, there was a period of time when your host right now, which is me, Zara Zafia, hi guys, and your co host, Priyanka Sudhakaran, were working in NGOs, we were working in startups, we were working in corporate offices at around the same time. We were in college and also in club activities, departmental activities, and so on. We were also doing a very hard arts degree. As much as you guys might protest that arts degrees are not hard, please come try ours. But we had a very difficult degree and we barely could sleep.
Yeah, it
And
was like honestly such a strain on us to the point I still remember not being able to come to college on time because I was so overworked with my actual corporate work and balancing college. But you know the worst part, during the course of my internship they never really treated me like an intern. It was always, you're not doing enough, being called selfish, and overtime. Oh yeah, that was like the norm. It's okay to work overtime, and calling for a work life balance was like a huge myth in some of these companies.
not only that, but we also had to have a lot of struggles with the ratio between how much we were getting paid and the ratio of how much we were actually doing the work, because we sometimes used to do the work of full-time employees and we would barely get the salary of one or like the stipend of one. I think Priyanka got paid a incredibly less amount, but
Oh,
she got paid.
I mean, paid in depending on the mood of the boss, and since you're an intern, like there's no regulation. So if they want to cut your pay, well, it depends on their mood. So that's there.
I didn't get paid, guys. I just worked for free. It was promised to me, and I never saw the money ever again for the rest of my life. But it was genuinely a very great experience, something that has equipped me for like the future world of corporate, of workplaces, and so on. And I'm genuinely very thankful for it. But as people who have put so much in risk, including our health and our physical and mental capabilities, just so that we'll be able to be good employees and work, also at the same time manage college. It is very paradoxical to hear it when they say that Gen Z is lethargic and Gen Z is lazy and they don't do anything for them.
Exactly. And that's what brings us to this discussion, right? Generation Z, the future of the workforce across the globe. And that brings us to the question of why we are, termed lazy, too informal, and, we don't have good work ethics. When in fact, we do. And the question is, what is the big problem in questioning some existing practices which are genuinely really bad? Like, you hear millennials complain about the fact that they have to work so many hours of the day. They don't get to see their five. They don't get to see their family. Like, I don't remember seeing my dad for a good portion of when I grew up. The only time many of our parents got get to spend time with us is when they retire, or they stop working, and that's really messed up if you think about it, that you have to be working till 60 to just even spend time with your family.
That's true. Not only that, but even as we are Gen Z employees, people who've worked, we've also contributed a lot in startups and so much more. We've had full time jobs in startups. I think it is important for us right now to consider this objectively, not just taking our own experiences as Gen Z employees, because we are part of a whole and two people cannot be ready to represent an entire generation.
Absolutely.
So let's take a look at all of the statistics that we have, let's take a look at all of the people that we're going to interview throughout the course of these podcasts. See what is the general consensus. Why is it that Gen Z is struggling to uphold these traditional culture and work culture that these corporate are trying to impose, and why is it that they don't like it? Why is it that they're trying to break it down? Once I feel like if we get to the bottom of that, they will be able to understand that hey, this is what they're trying to fight against and it's valid. Or maybe it's not. We don't know yet. Let's take this through an objective lens. Let's figure it out. Let's talk to everyone as we know.
Absolutely, Sarah. But here's the thing, right? The fact that these stereotypes about Gen Z exist means that there is some truth to it. So let's talk about maybe the other side of it, right? Why do Gen Z get this criticism in the first place? So, from what I've noticed, the major concerns, come around the lines of we're not punctual, we don't take it seriously enough. It's too casual. When we're supposed to reach at 9, we're there like at 11, but then we, compensated with working overtime. But bottom line is we come late. And like small things like this, right? How we address our seniors, some people still consider it wrong if you don't call them sir or madam. By calling them by their first name is extremely rude according to some seniors. And there are some ethics and some structures that if we don't follow, you get absolutely berated. For example, I remember when I asked my reporting manager if we could discuss this over a voice note, over a call, she completely lost it. She started screaming at me for like an hour. Like, how can you say that to your senior? And it's small things that this that make you realize, okay, maybe the way I look at a workforce is different from what is expected of an employee.
That is true. This way of approach that many older bosses are taking have shown statistics that almost 57% of Gen Z workers, out of 60,000 US workers, feel that they can approach AI or ChatGPT in regards to managerial advice or workplace advice more than their own managers. And the reason that was given was the manager is sometimes too busy and they dismiss any trivial questions, and therefore it is hard to bring up that connection with the people around them. A parallel report shows that almost 66 percentage of Gen Z employees show that they are not engaged at work, and when they say not engaged they mean they are not engaging with the colleagues, but they are also not actively disengaging, which means they are constantly working, they are putting in their contribution. But in regards to colleague relationships, in regards to talking around the water cooler, coffee chats, Gen Z, if not given a very appropriate environment, has proved that they will not be able to approach it very easily, and therefore the alternative of AI has taken a leap.
And that's honestly crazy, right? The fact that AI is more approachable than an actual human being who's supposed to guide you through your workplace. And but we must also consider the fact that we are a generation that was privileged enough to be exposed to things like, a work life balance, mental health, and, managing stress. These people, millennials and our senior employees, they had no choice but to deal with it, cope with it. If we get screamed at by our managers, they've probably been through worse. And that's the only thing they know, and that's what they're carrying on.
That's how they have learnt as well.
Exactly. And it's, not easy to completely shift the blame to them. But what's interesting to note is that almost 68% of Gen Z employees report more stress and burnout as compared to the older generation, which I know sounds concerning, but it's also nice that, our generation is more open to acknowledging that, maybe what's happening and maybe it's a system that they're following or that has been, continuously been followed by everyone is not exactly right, and it is causing damage to them as well.
See, that is incredibly true, and much as the Gen Z keeps on trying to break this culture within them or within the workplace, they are approaching it in ways of rebellion. and not in a way that corporate would prefer, and that would be maybe through initiatives or through meeting up with the boss, which is something that they're finding difficult, or meeting up with the team and talking to them about it. These are things Gen Z is taking an approach that is not traditional or the usual in corporate, and maybe that is why it has been viewed so badly. I have heard many of my friends say that they come late to office because they worked overtime. For example, Priyanka, you used to work till 9 in the office, I remember on college
Yeah.
days, and you were supposed to leave home by 6.
Yeah.
And then you had to come home, work on college assignments, eat, and preferably try to sleep, right?
Yeah.
So even when you couldn't, then you had to finish college. Pending assignments would be a lot because you were tired after work. And then you had to finish those pending assignments after college, and maybe that's why you were late. So there were many complaints saying that we worked overtime. I don't see how it has not been compensated to us. It has not been, we are not getting paid for the work we're doing. So one way that I can show my slightest of rebellion is compensating for it in the time that I come in.
Yeah.
The way of rebellion is not taken very the way of rebellion is not taken very nicely. It is not taken very kindly in corporate, but it is a way that Gen Z knows.
So, as we know, Gen Z grew up with the internet, right? I remember getting unrestricted internet access, and I don't know, for the better or worse, it has led me to where I am today.
That
But
has
with,
traumatized us, as well as given us unlimited information, but
yeah,
unlimited information we shouldn't have gotten.
exactly. Some of it I really think back, like, wow, 12-year-old me should not have known that.
Yeah.
But that's also interesting because we're a generation that's, seeing the early stages of AI. And unlike when internet came out the first time, people were reluctant to use it. They were like, no, we're not going to use the internet. But with Generation Z, we don't really see that pattern. People are open to it. In fact, they're extremely dependent on it. Like, the report on how people would rather go consult ChatGPT than actual humans. So that dependency is something that we see a shift with Gen Z and the workforce as such. And it is interesting to see how this will be carried on further. Like, will your manager be replaced by some humanoid robot, or will you be the one that's going to be replaced? Do we need interns, or, how is it going to evolve? How much is AI going to take over the workforce? And how much are we as employees and people going to let it influence us? Don't you think?
I think that also brings on to the fact that in the current job scenario, where there's a constant threat of AI taking over your work, I remember I had a friend who used to come and cry to me because so many of their employees were getting sacked left and right, and they were convinced that their job is going to be automated one day. And even though it's a job that they work day and night for without sleeping, it's something that AI could do so easily. Having that constant threat looming over you all the time is scary. And not only that, it has shown that the unemployment rates are soaring high, especially in India. It keeps on increasing and increasing, regardless of the government schemes that have been giving. It keeps on increasing. I think that contributes to the studies that say that 68% of Gen Z employees report more stress and burnout.
Exactly, because job security has become a concept so loose right now. Like, every day, it's not a battle with your next colleague or the next intern, it's a battle with a technology that's not even human.
Exactly. And as we tackle around that, I think it would be easier to see the reasoning behind the very static nature of Gen Z as they scramble on and try how to do. Just like how there were industry workers who were mad at machines when the industrialization era came on because it was taking away their jobs and their livelihood. And you have to realize that's the same thing that's happening here right now as well.
Exactly.
And we get to be mad at AI, but more so over both history and the present has shown that the only thing that we can be angry at is the companies,
Yeah,
because the amount of sacking that they're doing without any considerations of their livelihood. There have been thousands and thousands of sacking in a lot of MNCs with no short notice.
yeah, yeah. But the irony is that a good example of how, maybe at least for the next coming years, AI is not going to, take over completely is Apple. Apple sacked and fired a lot of their talented and really good employees. And as a result, they've not been able to develop a lot of their features. For example, iPhone 17 is almost the exact replica of iPhone 16. They don't have people to innovate new technologies.
Except the price tag. The price tag keeps on changing.
Exactly. And to the point that Apple has had to outsource some of their features from a different company because they don't have the talent within their own workspace. Because the people don't want to work there or they were fired. And I think that's at least a bit of a hope that, AI is not going to completely take us over and that, talent and innovation is still something authentic by humans.
But you have to admit, it is slowly getting scarce, or at least
True.
acknowledgement of that talent and innovation is getting incredibly scarce.
Yes. And
For example, there was a news that I read about how Deloitte lost almost 750,000 in dollars
wow.
because of a small mistake that
Yeah,
AI did.
I remember reading that, and it's so crazy. Like, who are you going to hold accountable then? Who's going to get fired for that mistake?
Maybe that's also the point. AI is a machine that you can't hold accountable. And maybe there will be new jobs that come up that will require us to handle AI. Now, as we talk about the current job scenario and how Gen Z
Is navigating.
navigating through all of this, including their generational gap with the
Oh,
bosses and their
yes.
employers.
On that note, we come to the end of the first episode of Gen Z as a workforce. Thank you. This
Thank
was
you.
Priyanka signing off, and
This is Zara signing off. Thank you.